What if the entire universe, all the billions of galaxies, every star and planet, even you, is happening inside someone's brain? It sounds like a bizarre science fiction premise, but some scientists are actually suggesting something eerily close to that, and it just might keep you up at night. You might be thinking, this is some kind of metaphor or clickbait, right? I don't blame you. It does sound absurd, but there's real research hinting the universe might work in a way eerily similar to a giant brain. So let's dive into this rabbit hole and see where it leads. For starters, astronomers and neuroscientists have noticed something mind-boggling. The cosmic web of galaxies looks a lot like the neurons in a brain. I'm not just talking about a vague resemblance. I mean statistically, structurally, they match in surprising ways. One study compared the network of 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe with the 100 billion neurons in a human brain. And guess what? Both have nodes, galaxies or neurons, connected by filaments, forming similar intricate webs. The distribution of these connections follows the same mathematical patterns in both systems. Even the proportions are similar. Your brain is about 70% water, with the rest being networks of neurons. The universe? It's about 70% dark energy, with the rest forming galaxies and clusters. Coincidence? Maybe. But it gives you chills to think the universe and your brain share a common blueprint. This isn't just a pretty visual analogy. It's like nature reuses the same design at radically different scales. Two systems, 27 orders of magnitude apart in size, growing under similar rules. It's as if the universe had to wire itself up in the most efficient way, the same way a brain does. So does that mean the universe is literally a brain? Maybe even someone's brain? Not necessarily, or at least not in the straightforward way you might think. But it opens up a much bigger question. Could the universe be alive or conscious in some way? What would that even mean? We need to talk about what it means to be alive. You and I are alive. A bacteria is alive, but a rock or a star isn't, right? At least that's what we assume. Yet the more scientists try to define life, the blurrier that line gets. Take viruses. They have genes and evolve, but they can't reproduce without hijacking a host cell. Are they alive or just clever zombies? Or think about a city. It consumes energy, grows, and kind of reproduces by sprouting new suburbs. We normally wouldn't call a city alive, but it's doing some lifelike things. In short, life isn't a black and white concept. One idea scientists use is autopoiesis, a fancy word meaning self-creation or self-maintenance. A living cell constantly rebuilds itself, replacing its parts, maintaining its structure. By that definition, something is alive if it keeps itself going and protects its identity. Now ask, does the universe do anything like that? It doesn't have DNA or metabolism in the usual sense, but look closer. Stars die and spread elements that form new stars and planets. Entire galaxies recycle material in a cosmic flow. It's a vast dynamic system that, in a way, renews itself over time. Over billions of years, the universe has transformed from a hot uniform soup into a complex web full of structure. Kinda like how a fertilized egg becomes a brain and a body. The universe went from simplicity to complexity, from chaos to order, almost as if it grew up. Sounds lifelike, doesn't it? It even has something like a metabolism. Stars burn fuel and exhale the ingredients for planets and life. The cycle of star birth and death is like the universe's heartbeat, each supernova pumping heavy elements into space, seeding the next generation. The cosmos is not static. It's actively recycling and evolving. And let's not forget feedback loops. In your body, feedback loops keep you alive, like insulin regulating blood sugar. In galaxies, Supermassive black holes blast out jets that regulate star formation, preventing things from getting too chaotic. The universe has mechanisms that self-balance and self-regulate, in a rough sense, the way a living organism might. On a smaller scale, Earth itself offers a hint. The Gaia hypothesis views Earth as a single living system. Oceans, atmosphere, life, all working together to maintain habitability. Earth keeps its temperature and oxygen levels just right for life, almost like it has a thermostat. If an entire planet can behave like it's alive, why not the whole universe? Now you might say, sure, the universe has structure and cycles, but that's just physics, not life. It's not like the cosmos has a brain or feelings. Fair point. But consider this. Life is physics too, just very organized physics. The difference might be a matter of degree and complexity, not a hard dividing line. Here's something else to chew on. The universe seems almost too perfect for life. Scientists have puzzled over how the fundamental constants of nature are just right. It's called the fine-tuning problem. If those numbers were even a smidge different, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. For example, if gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn out too fast and too hot. A bit weaker, and stars might not ignite at all, or never explode to scatter heavy elements. If the strong nuclear force varied by even 0.0001, atoms might not hold together, or the universe would be nothing but hydrogen. In other words, almost any tweak to physics, and you get no life, no complexity. Some say it's no mystery. If it weren't perfect, we wouldn't exist to notice. End of story. That's the anthropic principle. Others feel that's a cop-out, like saying, we got lucky, move on. The odds of everything being just right by chance are astronomically low. It's as if the universe hit the cosmic lottery, or perhaps it knew what it was doing. This is where some people whisper about a creator or intelligent design. But what if the designer is the universe itself? Think about it. A truly self-organizing universe could, in theory, adjust itself to make life possible. The way a good host arranges a party, just so the guests can eventually arrive. Enter a wild idea from philosophy, cosmopsychism. It suggests that rather than every little particle having its own mind, as in panpsychism, it's the universe as a whole that has a mind, and we're like fragments of its thoughts. In this view, the universe might have wanted to create life, because life and mind are part of what it is. I know, it sounds like a cosmic ego trip. The universe wants something, but stick with me. If the universe is, in some sense, alive or aware, maybe when it was born, during the Big Bang, it chose properties that would lead to interesting outcomes, like stars, planets, and eventually us. Far-fetched? Absolutely. Impossible? Not everyone is ready to say that. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how could the early universe possibly make a choice or have goals? There was no brain then, just energy and particles flying around. Good question. The honest answer is, we don't know. The idea of a universe-scale mind doesn't mean it functions like a human brain with neurons from day one. It could be something that emerges as the universe becomes complex. Consider this. Your consciousness didn't exist when you were an infant in the womb. It gradually emerged as your brain developed. Likewise, perhaps the universe had a kind of potential consciousness built in, which blossomed as structures formed and life evolved. We, and any other thinking beings out there, might collectively be the universe waking up to know itself. Remember that famous saying by Carl Sagan, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." He meant that literally. We are the eyes and ears and thoughts of the universe, looking back on itself. In that sense, your awareness is not just your own. It's a tiny piece of the universe's awareness. Let's talk about one of the strangest clues that mind and cosmos are entangled: quantum physics. You've probably heard how, in the quantum world, the act of observing something can change it. It's like reality isn't quite real until someone, or something conscious, peaks. Picture the famous double-slit experiment. When scientists don't observe a particle like an electron, it behaves like a wave, smearing out into many possibilities. But the moment they measure it, it snaps into a single position, like it was caught in the act. It's as if the particle knows it's being watched and changes its behavior. Now, there's debate about whether it's consciousness or just measurement that causes this collapse. But the whole thing is deeply unsettling. It suggests that at a fundamental level, reality is kind of fuzzy and undefined until an observer comes along. As if the universe is playing hide-and-seek with itself. The physicist John Wheeler took this further, proposing that we live in a participatory universe, meaning the universe requires observers to fully exist. In his view, every act of observation is like the universe observing itself, completing the circuit. We aren't just in the universe, we are part of how it unfolds, literally helping define its reality. Think about that for a second. It's not just you looking up at the stars, it's the universe, through your eyes, seeing itself and maybe even altering itself. You are a cosmic mirror. This goes beyond metaphor. It hints that the observer, mind, and the observed, universe, are deeply intertwined. This brings us back to panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is everywhere, not just in brains. If even a particle has a proto-mind of sorts, then it's no surprise that a whole bunch of them together, like in a brain or a planet or a galaxy, might produce a bigger mind. Panpsychism basically says the lights are never completely off anywhere in the universe. It's a bit wild, right? It implies your coffee mug, in some ridiculously tiny way, has an inner life. Not enough to start talking or write poetry, but maybe just a teeny spark of experience. Kind of makes you want to treat objects a bit nicer, or at least feel a little guilty when you slam your phone down. Hey, sorry phone. Jokes aside, panpsychism is an attempt to solve the hard problem of consciousness. How do you get mind from matter? Maybe you don't. Maybe mind is built into matter. If everything has some degree of consciousness, then when matter gets complex enough, like in a human brain, it doesn't create consciousness from scratch. It just concentrates the consciousness that was already there. Now combine that with the holistic view. If every bit of the cosmos has a flicker of awareness, then perhaps the entire cosmos together has a vast, integrated awareness, a universal mind. It's not separate little flames of consciousness, but one enormous bonfire that we're all sparks of. If that's true, what is that cosmic mind thinking? It might not think in words, or have a personality like we do. It could be more like a state of being, a field of awareness that just is. Imagine an intelligence that spans galaxies and billions of years. It's so far beyond us that calling it mind or life is just the closest analogy we have. Here's a thought that might bend your brain. What if our entire universe is a neuron firing in an even greater reality? Like, our universe could be a tiny part of some incomprehensibly big organism. Someone's brain could be a metaphor for something literally owning a brain in a larger cosmos. Or maybe the someone is the universe itself, personified. It sounds like a plot twist from a cosmic horror story. One day we invent a telescope so powerful it peeks outside the universe, only to see we're inside a giant creature's brain. Cue existential crisis. It's a crazy idea. There's no evidence for it, but it's the kind of thing that keeps you staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. Why is that terrifying? Well, if it's true, it means everything we do is happening on someone else's terms. We might be microscopic motes of thought in some greater being. It puts us in a very powerless, almost absurd position. Nobody likes to think they're just a character in someone else's dream. But there's another side to it. If the universe, and by extension, we, are part of a living, conscious whole, then we're not just meaningless specks. We're components of something so vast and magnificent, we can't even grasp it fully. That's awe-inspiring. It's like being a cell in the body of a god. Suddenly, the loneliness of existence might fade a bit. You're connected to the universe intimately. You're a neuron in the cosmic brain, an essential part of the way the universe knows and shapes itself. That can be a strangely comforting thought, that you belong here because you literally are a piece of here. So here we are with this paradox. The idea can make you feel incredibly small and insignificant, yet deeply connected and significant at the same time. Small, because wow, you're one tiny bit of a mind-boggling whole. Significant, because without tiny bits like you and me, maybe that whole wouldn't be complete. Now, let's pump the brakes for a second. We have to acknowledge that a lot of this is speculation. Mainstream science hasn't declared the universe is alive or conscious. These are fringe theories and philosophical musings, and a healthy dose of skepticism is always wise. Those galaxy brain similarities? Real studies, yes. The fine-tuning, real puzzling facts. Observer effect? Solid physics. But does that prove the universe has a mind? No. It hints, teases, but it doesn't conclusively say, yep, the universe is self-aware. We can't put the cosmos on an MRI and check for brainwaves. Not yet, anyway. So why even entertain these out-there ideas? Because asking these questions expands our perspective. Even if the answer turns out to be no, the mere possibility makes us reflect on what life and consciousness truly are. And who knows, many great discoveries started as what-if thoughts that sounded crazy at first. At the end of the day, whether or not the universe is literally alive or conscious, thinking about it in these terms makes you appreciate how remarkable existence is. From particles that seem to know they're being watched, to galaxies dancing in patterns that echo our neural networks. Reality is shockingly weird, and we are deeply a part of it. It leaves us with questions that border on spiritual. If the universe is a mind, what does it mean to be a thought inside it? If the universe is alive, what is our role in its life? These questions have no easy answer, but just asking them can send chills down your spine. We often go about our daily lives, worrying about trivial things, forgetting that we are embedded in this cosmic mystery. Maybe, just maybe, the universe isn't a cold, uncaring expanse, but something more like a grand organism, one that we participate in every day without even realizing. The thought that the universe is in someone's brain is startling. It challenges our sense of reality, but it also ignites a sense of wonder. Terrifying? Sure. Exhilarating? That too. It's a reminder that reality might be far stranger and more alive than we ever imagined. So next time you gaze up at the night sky, consider for a moment that you're looking at more than just balls of gas and rock. You could be looking at the flickering neurons of an immense mind, or the organs of a living cosmos. Let that thought settle in. Feel the awe and maybe a hint of fear, and embrace the mystery. If this exploration lit up your imagination or sent a shiver down your spine, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Let me know your take on all this in the comments. I'm really curious what you think about a conscious universe. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending journeys like this. Until next time, keep wondering. After all, if the universe is a brain, there's a lot for us to think about.